Over the last few years, the annual Gloucester bull sales have gained a strong reputation. It's now the biggest all-breed sales in New South Wales. This year, about 600 bulls in 9 breeds of cattle are on offer. Strong interest comes from the Hunter, the New England region and the Gloucester district. But there's an increasing demand from buyers from the North Coast and the North West. The 3-day sales began today with a showing of quality Devon bulls and females. About 18 studs were represented from as far away as Goulburn, the Northern Tablelands and Mudgee. But one of the most successful exhibitors was the local, C.A. Laurie and Sons of Gloucester. The Devon breed is one of Australia's oldest and is now enjoying a resurgence in popularity.
Like any product, if you hide it away, you can't really expect anyone to buy it. And showing for a stud breeder is very important, but it's also important for the commercial breeder because that showing brings the animal to the fore. And of course the sale is the real test because the prices that you see here in the ring today are going to be a real indication of what these animals are worth.
The sales continue tomorrow with Angus, Murray Greys, Poll Herefords and Santa Gertrudis on offer. It's the first year the Maitland City Invitation Singles has been held, and organisers couldn't have wished for a better field. 24 top-class bowlers are vying for nearly $6,500 in prize money. And today the combination of the high winds and fast greens made the going very competitive. In the field is Australian representative John Snell from Victoria. John won the 1985 Hub of the Hunter Championship. In his career he's played an amazing 225 representative games for Victoria. Bomaderry's Bob King is hoping to better his performance in the recent Peter O'Neill Memorial Singles Tournament at East Cessnock, where he finished runner-up. Bob's also an Australian and New South Wales representative. Current Australian singles champion Terry Baldwin is making his first appearance at a tournament in Maitland. Terry from Warilla on the south coast has been a prolific winner of club, district and open championships. And Coolangatta's Ian Schuback is also competing. He's an Australian representative and silver medalist at the Edinburgh Commonwealth Games. Ian is this year's Jack High champion and is also expected to be among the front-runners come semi-final time on Friday morning.
The multi-million-dollar Rankin Park Hospital is a rarity, and the Department of Health is delighted. So far, it looks set to be completed by Christmas 1989, and patients and staff should be moving in by mid-1990, almost 6 months ahead of the date estimated by the department. The builders, McCloy and Hutchinson, are bemused by all the fuss. They say they are right on the schedule they set, but like most other expectant developers, the Health Department allowed time for bad weather, industrial strife and other mishaps that plague the industry. Chief Executive of the Greater Newcastle Health Service, Dr. Owen James.
Like all good things, it's a good idea. It's been very well managed and the workforce has been very much behind the project. As you might know, a lot of the support for the healthcare developments that have gone on since Jeff Olsen's recommendations of some years ago came from the Trades Hall Council.
But the efficient building is causing some minor cash flow headaches. Where the department budgeted for $20 million this year, it has cost more than double that. However, Dr. James says the department isn't seriously worried about it.
As a result of favourable conditions, the builder is able to build it a little over $40 million. After good consideration, the government decided to fund this, and naturally enough, this flows off to benefits in Newcastle. Benefits, obviously, which we need.
Neither Kogarah nor Umina had won the Cup before, and both were determined to make this their year. Kogarah went into the match as favourites after their recent semi-final win over reputedly the top Sydney side, Liverpool. The Southern Sydney team had a battle ahead of it, however, and neither side had managed to score at full time. In extra time, Kogarah held off strong challenges from Umina and eventually scored the only goal with 5 minutes of play remaining. Organisers claim the Oak Bill Turner Cup for teams aged under 16 is now one of the biggest secondary school sporting events in the world. The number of teams entered has risen dramatically from the 34 when it started 9 years ago to 330 this season. And if things go to plan, it will keep on growing. Organisers say they aim to include Victorian teams as well next year. Each year around Matara festival time, the narrow roads through King Edward Park become race strips for brave or perhaps crazy men and women trying to reach the top a second or two faster than their rivals. This year the Newcastle Hillclimb is the 9th and final round of the New South Wales Hill Climbing Championships, and hence results will mean more than usual. Organisers say so many entries have been received for the event that more than 20 have had to be turned down. Last night, many of the locals who'd at least made the starting line had their vehicles given the mandatory checkover. Officials examine every vehicle before the race to ensure that it is both completely safe and also that it complies to any regulations attached to its class. Road-registered sedans, for example, such as this Tirana GTR XU1, do not race against such as this Formula Ford Bowen P4. The common denominator for the 70 starters, of course, is that all go very fast up hills.
The Lake Macquarie City Council say they're well aware of the environmental problems that pose a serious threat to the conservation of the lake. Its Environmental Research Committee will accept all applications until the end of the month. Environment Officer Dr Rod Kidd said today he expects the final proposals under the $20,000 grant will be selected sometime in October, allowing research to begin as soon as possible. This year's science graduates at the Newcastle University have been invited to submit applications, a move welcomed by the various departments.
This gives the students at the university a chance to apply their expertise to real-time situations to try and help solve problems in the lake.
Well, as far as resources and research goes, what has the university to offer?
Well, the university has a wide variety of resources, from anything from geography to biological sciences to chemistry to physics to geology in relation to studies associated with the lake itself, the surrounding basin, the runoff, and the materials, the fish and the shellfish within the lake.
Dr Bridgman has just returned from a year-long study at Colorado's National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, researching long-range transport of air pollution across the Arctic Basin. And now he hopes to use some of his newfound knowledge, adding more research to the region's acid rain studies.
Certainly I will be applying much of the work I've been doing overseas to my teaching here, and hopefully some students here will become interested in terms of further work of their own studies. And so we can both have an international and a national or even a regional impact.
The Eisteddfod started yesterday with aptly the smallest of the competitors. The under 10 years folk song and open composition sections had perhaps not the most experienced vocalists of the competition, but certainly some of the bravest. And they had good reason to try their hardest. Judging the pitch, tone and performances in the Newcastle City Eisteddfod is internationally recognised and now retired opera singer Ronald Dahl. Newcastle was in fact the second city in Australia to start running Eisteddfods back in 1875. Only Ballarat started earlier in 1850. The Eisteddfod has started and stopped several times since then, but organisers hope it may now be back to stay. They say interest this year is high, with singers competing in 60 different sections. Next year will depend largely on the public interest generated over the next 4 days. The twin-engine Squirrel is on loan from the Sydney Rescue Service for 4 weeks. During that time, the Newcastle rescue crews will be assessing how well such a helicopter could serve the Hunter. The real question, however, is not one of performance, but of regulations. The problem the Newcastle Rescue Service faces is that several of the big Sydney hospitals have approach or departure routes over densely populated suburbs, classified by the Department of Aviation as two-engine areas only. These include the Royal North Shore Hospital, Westmead Hospital and Camperdown Children's Hospital. Operations Manager for the Newcastle Helicopter Rescue Service, John Skeen.
Those hospitals are being used by the service up until about 6 months ago for up to 12 years, and the Department of Aviation have allowed dispensations up until that time. However, now to meet those regulations, we are required to go into those hospitals with twin engines only.
Twin-engine helicopters, however, don't come cheap. At around $1.2 million, they are almost twice the price of a single-engine helicopter of similar size. As the rescue service sees it, though, they don't have much choice.
Well, we don't see it as a financial problem. We will be looking towards the health department to provide or assist in cost recovery for the second helicopter or the twin-engine helicopter. At the moment, the way we're operating is very efficiently through the community. We expect that sort of support to continue, but we also are expecting the health department to come along and assist us in funding these twin-engine helicopters.
Hello, I'm Janelle Provost. Today, 2,000 Northern District miners decided to go out on strike until the 15th of September. The miners are angry about what they say is the federal government's lack of action and the coal company's refusal to adopt any of the miners' concessions.
For all the news, join us tonight at 6.
Officials say they are the worst fires to scorch the west coast of America. Firefighters have called on the regular army to help battle the 1,800 blazes that are raging in 8 states. Now conditions are improving for firemen, with temperatures dropping and some rainfall.
It's a little cooler, not as much wind as there has been, and it's working out really well.
In Bangladesh, 25 million people are homeless following the worst flooding for 40 years. Although food is still being distributed by the army, it's becoming increasingly difficult as more roads are cut by the floodwaters.
Picturesque King Edward Park is transformed every year into the state's longest and most challenging hill climb course. More than 900 man-hours from MG Car Club volunteers erect the guardrails and put the sandbags in place. This year's event is round 9 of the New South Wales Hill Climb Championships, and more than 70 competitors raced, most covering the 1,094-metre course in under 60 seconds. The course is demanding, with both fast open corners and tight pinch and hairpin turns to test the driver's skills. Last year's record was smashed today by half a second when Sydney driver Robert Rumble finished in 42.16 seconds driving a Cheetah Renault. Trophies and prize money total $3,500, which is very useful when you consider that a set of tyres can cost up to $600 a time.
For Mayfield East, it was their third grand final appearance in 4 years, and they were hungry to win the premiership that had, until today, eluded them for more than 30 years. But Merriwether Carlton weren't going to give their ground easily. Despite being one man down for most of the match, the Greens looked determined and didn't allow the more highly fancied Mayfield East to run away with the match. The only try of the game was scored by Mayfield East. Tony Bristow added the extras, as well as posting a field goal and penalty goal. For Merriwether Carlton, Gavin Stewart kicked 2 penalty goals and a field goal. The match went past 5 o'clock, and right to the final whistle, Merriwether Carlton continued to pressure the May East line. The defence held, and the final score was 12-9.
I predicted a really good close grand final, and I think we had it. I don't think anyone here will go away disappointed after that effort. And I must give a lot of credit to the Greens. They just kept coming at us, but our piggies kept hitting them, and our backs kept the defence up, and it was excellent.
Good on you, Brian.
Thank you very much,
Brian.
Brian. Thank you.
Well done. While some dressed formally for the festivities, others draped their yachts in colourful flags. The occasion, the official start of the new sailing season at the Lake Macquarie Yacht Club. All types of sailing craft paraded in front of the clubhouse, eager to snare the trophies for the best decorated yacht, best battle flag display, and the best dressed, or in some cases, undressed cruise. And to add to the celebrations, there was even an impromptu sailor's jig, albeit unconventional, to help usher in the new season.
Have a scotch and soda. I've got bloody right air conditioning.